Hi guys, Isaaru here with a Phase 3 Enhancement Shaman video guide for you guys, running through mostly the PvE changes, rotations, and ensuring that you're raid ready with the best gear that you can get before stepping foot into Sunken Temple. Phase 3 has been out now for about 1.5 weeks at this point, so I feel like it's a good time to really understand what's needed, what we've learned so far, how to get that best stuff beforehand, and where your focuses should be. We'll go over some of the gear that I've attained the last week. I had a couple of days off as I was away in London, but to give you an idea, some of the stuff that I've retained and kept in that time. The necklace from Rune, still bis. Critical in strike increase by 1%, 16 attack power, 6 stamina. Really, really strong. Still really good to farm. I've kept the 2 set from Rune, the tier piece, which has given me an additional 24 attack power. The crit on the chest as well is super useful. I've still got the Totem of Invigorating Flame, which is a mana reduction on your Flame Shock. I've still got, like I said, the 2 set on the legs this time. Legionnaire's band, but obviously the rank up. But that's pretty much it. Oh, of course, the Raging Berserker, the main bit of equipment that I've had since very, very early PT. Mainly because I forgot to get the quest for Helm of Exile, which I'll go through shortly. But also some of them are really strong. So like the necklace that we will see shortly for Sunken Temple is very similar to the necklace here, so not a huge amount in it. Tier sets, the bonus on this 24 attack power is strong, plus it gives me an extra crit and intellect, which is beneficial now because of a new rune, which we'll go over shortly. But you know, there's reasons why I've kept those for the time being. I am waiting to get tier list, so fingers crossed I get it in my next raid. But I've only done 1 run so far. And the totem that I got at the moment is not because I want to keep it. The new one is better. I just lost the roll, sadly. So we'll go over some of the rune changes that we're going to be focusing on, what's made them a little bit different, and where we go from there. The helm, mental dexterity. This is, for me, the best rune in P3 for shamans. It now makes intellect powerful in terms of attack power. And the conversion of your intellect is now attack power. So I can have 113 self-buffed at the moment, which means 113 extra attack power as soon as I hit something, as soon as that combat. And it also increases your spell damage and healing by 30% of your total attack power. So there's a huge overall increase as soon as the fight starts. So your base stats might not look great, like you can see at the bottom right here, but once you start, it does go up quite a bit. So it just makes intellect more useful for us. It's not just mana, but also now it gives us attack power, which is brilliant. The chest is still the same. The dual wield spec. Chance on hit with both spells and melee attacks 10%, which means we're hit capped on melee. Which means that doesn't matter what weapons you have in what hand, you're hit capped, right? Hit capped is normally 9% with no weapon skill, 6% with the weapon skill and a weapon of that category. So for orcs, 5 axes. If you have axes, like I have in my main hand, you're nearly 6% hit. But we get 10 from this, so it doesn't matter what we use. We're capped, which is brilliant. Risks, I'm using overcharged at the moment, as you've probably seen, and I'll show you a quick video in the background now of how much damage overcharge does. It's super powerful. It's getting nerfed as of tomorrow. The date today is the 16th. To now has a 3-second cooldown, but still damages all enemies. So my lightning shield does about 150 to 160 damage. That's instead of every second that you're getting hit, it's now every 3 seconds. It's still going to pump. So that's what I'm using at the moment. I'll go over the other rune in a second, what you can choose, but this is still just best at the moment, I feel. Lava Lash on your main hand. Yep, we did go over what we thought might be a 2-handed phase, but sadly not. Dual wield is still pumping. 2-handed is fun. It's better than where it was, but dual wield is still the way. Maelstrom weapon, without a shadow of a doubt, is the best way forward. Shamanistic Rage, again, as a DPS, makes absolute sense unless you're tanking and you use Way of Earth. And Alpha, which again we covered in the last video, it's still beneficial, it's still useful, it still is your best in slot. Going over some of the newer bits of gear that I've got now, and what I've been focusing on. So first and foremost, I really put a focus in on my professions, leatherworking and engineering. The leatherworking shoulders here are amazing. They look insane. I mean, do they not look very cool? The caster ones I feel look even better, but they look brilliant. Force to be reckoned with straight away just by the look, right? And we all know 10% damage by the core factor unofficially. I am working to get the buff, which we'll go over that shortly. The Black Veil Cape is from Interrogator in Blackrock Depths, the first boss. Got it on the first run, which is super useful. The Engineering Braces. Again, the Warsong ones are better with attack power as the focus, but this gives me a whole % crit. I've been able to get strength from their enchant as well as the strength that's on it already, and it's a lot easier to get, in my opinion, so can't complain. Grizzle's Skinner weapon, one-handed main axe. All those stats on it make it nice and tidy, nice weapon speed as well. Could be a bit slower, but 2.4 is pretty good. It took me 55 runs in the arena to get, and then on the 56th another axe drop. So talk about weird RNG, but look, super useful. I'm glad I got it. It's doing a lot of damage. I got the mace in Sunken Temple. Again, the weapon doesn't matter because we have the hit cap. It's just a bit slower. You want slow off hands as well as main hands because Storm Strike, as you see from the dual spec, Storm Strike ability now hits with both weapons while dual wielding and increases damage done by your offhand by 50%. So you want a nice slow weapon for that. Gloves of the Pathfinder are from a quest in Winterspring. It's one that you're going to want to get pre-raid as its best stats. There's only one that's slightly better, and that's arguable. Has a bit more attack power, but you lose 0.8 crit % there. And they're the ones from Sunken Temple. But these are brilliant. These are super useful. They don't look great, but you'll need a team to do the quest. It's level 57 mobs in Winterspring, but it's doable with 2 or 3 of you. I got the best in slot waste in my first run, which I'm very, very happy about. You've got the 13 strength, which is 26 attack power, 12 intellect, which is another 12 attack power, 12 agility, which is about 0.8. Yeah, crit. So, super useful. Belt, yeah, legs we've gone over, sorry. The boots, I've just got Blackrock Depths. They're filler until I get the tier piece. Blackstone ring from Princess. Hit isn't massively beneficial for us, but the attack power and stamina is. Same with the Rune of the Guard Captain. Attack power is brilliant. Breadth of the Beast gives us an extra crit with spells and attacks. Again, hit, nothing too special. Enchant wise is a given. Stats, I've only kept +2 on here until I get the tier. Then I'll opt in for the +3. The braces, +7, cost me about 5 gold. To get +9 strength, it's costing me about 100 gold. For 2 strength, which is 4 attack power, it is categorically not worth that amount of gold. It's ridiculous. +4 weapon damage on my main and offhand, because 15 strength, which though it is this, is costing you about 200 gold on my EU per weapon. Again, just not worth it. Gloves, +5 strength. Some guys will say agility. You know, I think with myself, just under 20%, and then if I've got Grace of Air, just under 23%, it's not making much of a difference. With Raid, something that's about 35%, so there's no point. Boots, I always go for minus speed. I am just always... it just makes a world of difference, really. Especially in raids and moving around and getting out stuff on the floor. It really does help. You can get 7 agility. I know that that's going to be better overall, but I think the sort of quality of life that comes with minus speed is better. Going over now some of the gear guide. Wowhead. It says priority should be crit, hit, strength, weapon skill, agility, intellect, stamina. But then it does kind of go against itself sometimes when it's saying to get the gloves here, let's say, where you got 16 strength, 6 intellect, but you're losing the 12 agility, which is almost a crit, a whole crit with the glove. Look, anyway, let's go through it. Helm of Exile looks wicked, looks really cool, super useful, super easy to get. Helm of Exile is this looking quest similar to Ruskin Helm from Razorfin Crawl, but blue. They revamped the stats a bit, so now it's super useful. I mean, you got 18 intellect there, which is 18 attack power, top of your 36. It's super, super good. It's just a handing quest from a NPC in the spider area of the Hinterlands. Pick up the quest, get the head, bring it back, done. So this should be a given. Everyone should be rocking this. And with the lesser arcane amalgamation, which is this, 8 strength to a leg or helm slot, does not stack with other enchants, etc. Well, helm and head at the moment, there's nothing you can do other than these. They're going about 200 gold at the moment on my server a book, which is an enchant, which is a lot, so I'm holding out. I'm probably going to farm it myself. The necklace here as we've compared, and I've shown you, if I go onto my guy, you're looking at the difference of 16 attack power, 1% chance to crit, to 18 attack power, 1% chance to crit. It's minuscule. And you lose stamina. So I feel like the others a little bit better for the sake of 2 attack power. Shoulders, as mentioned, I've got the same ones. Here they've got the Signet of Might, which is the crit, which you get for handing in a flask to the Northwest Stranglethorn Vale, which gives you, one of the buffs. You need 5 seeds, 5 flasks, and a crystal vial. If we look at the moment for what those are, 20 gold at the moment for a Nightmare Seed, 5 gold at the moment for a flask. That's dropped down massively. The seeds were 35 gold yesterday. That auction scan was about an hour ago. So those prices are really fluctuating and really changing. And people have found a way to solo some parts of Sunken Temple, the mobs, the little dragonkins, to get the seeds. So their influx of that coming in has massively made a difference. It's saying to get the Panther Fur Cloak, which is 1 agility more than the Black Veil. Is minuscule. Other than looking very cool, in my opinion, there's not much more in it. So I would get it because it looks nice. It's finally a full-length DPS cloak at this level. It will look nice and cool, but actually it's 1 agility for a whole 2-level item difference. It doesn't really make much sense, but it's what it is. The 3 set bonus, 20 attack power, dealing fire damage gains you, it's 5 attack power. Stacking up 10 times, useful for boss fights for sure, and it of course plus 3 stats. The braces here it says to get are the Warsong Gulch rep ones. I think if you look at the difference, yes, you end up getting an extra 30 attack power, but you gain a whole crit here. 30 attack power for the sake of when I'm in raid gear, raid prepped, ready to go. I'm sitting about 11 to 1200 attack power. For the sake of 20 to 30, does make a huge difference, but that extra crit and the equip and the use effect here is going to raid. The gloves, they mentioned earlier on that they said 13 strength, 6 intellect. It's going to be better in terms of the attack power, but the other gloves I've got at the moment give me almost a whole crit, and I can get the agility or the strength on them as well to make up for that. But they are better, but minuscule, huge increase. The Waistguard of Pain, which I've got already, which is a great bit of kit, I would 100% focus getting that. Better than any of the others that are around because they include hit, and we don't need it. Legs again, you can tell that we hit capped finally. Only took them 2 phases, but they've not included hit gear, which is great. Boots, I definitely need to get. They're my next high priority item, because intellect on there as well, more armor, and they help with the set bonus. They say to get the next level Legionnaires band. That's actually your Abyss ring, which we have anyway, which is great. The ring from here, from the last boss, isn't that great. If we look at Blackstone Ring, which is 20 attack power, 6 stamina, 1% chance to hit, it's only a little bit more stamina for an epic ring. It doesn't make sense. Trinkets, they say, get attack power and attack power, which is great. The only thing is, I think it's a bit contradictory because they say to focus on crit, which is why I've got Breath of the Beast on, because it gives you a whole % chance to crit. Weapons-wise, Rift Splitter of Strength. That's sitting at, on my current auction house, about 1200 gold, which I don't know anyone who's got that money. It's ridiculous. And then Axe of the Atoll in the offhand, which makes sense. It's a nice slow item. I'd actually rather get 2 of those axes. But super, super useful regardless. And of course, a totem that I've missed out on, which is the one that gives you attack power when you use Flame Shot. So you always just to put the dot on it, and then you focus with your frost and earth if you've got enough threat. But that to give you extra attack power on top of it for free is better than the reduction in cost of mana for Flame Shock, especially when, as you've probably seen, Shamanistic Rage giving you just such a ridiculous amount of mana. And when others are using it as well, you're laughing, right? Just putting down some of my totems because talent-wise, pretty much what you saw before. I've got more points in enhancing totems because I now sit on just under 23% chance to crit. Pretty much same setup as before. I've gone shield spec over Ancestral Knowledge. 5 points, 5 talent points in Ancestral Knowledge will give you 133 mana. It is not worth it. 5 talent points for that is absolutely abysmal. I've gone for 5 in concussion, so I do more damage with my instant bolts and shocks. And I had 3 to use. It makes sense to lower the cost of the mana of shocks, bolts, etc. by 6% on that, as opposed to Call of Flame, because your totems 15% on nothing is pretty much nothing, so do fuck all. I'll put them down where it's useful, but 15% of 54 is nothing. 15% on 33 to 45 is nothing. Again, it's just redundant. It was just 3 points to use there. It makes sense to me for the longevity of conviction. So if I have 3 points in Maelstrom, I can pop this quickly with a 0.6 second cast, and it's costing me much less anyway. So that's where I'm going with that. Those are my priorities and what I think are sort of the next sort of things to focus and go on. We do need better trinkets. All this hit stuff is useless first. Same for the ring. It may be even better to find a nice strength and intellect ring to replace that, because we don't need the hit more than anything. But that's where I'm at the moment. That's where I think we should be focusing. I did hope that the two-handed specs would come through and come a bit more viable, but sadly, no. It was good at the very start of P2 because everyone kind of had low health, but as everyone sort of geared up and got better, the two-handers don't work as much. But do have some videos of that coming soon.